A Patreon video again. Man, they just keep on happening. I'm gonna be drawing a thing, and this time not gonna say what the request was. You're gonna have to easily guess for yourself. And I'm starting to film and talk here before I'm even set up physically here. It's pretty great. This is Rao Cow. Y'all paid money for this. Well, let's go. Hey, Rao Cow. Happy emoticon. May I have some of your noddles? Thing guy. Sign White Skidmore. My answer to you is yes. But you're gonna have to find me first. What's your outlook towards the current AAA market for video games? Is it hopeful or bleak or indifferent or any other flavor of emotion you find in your fridge? Metsu funny. I don't know. Like, AAA is in a weird spot, I believe, because they got a technology to make amazing things, but these amazing things come at a price. So game companies are in the situation where it's dangerous to take huge chances. So the only way you can justify is if you can make enough money, for it. So you've got all this potential, but this potential is too dangerous to use in a funny little way. I think it's interesting, and I think it's tragic. Now, technically, I don't care all that much, because I've always been way more interested in, the indie scene, so, it's like, whatever. But I think it's unfortunate for people who do, like a big budget with their game, because there's nothing wrong with liking, something that takes effort and time and money and a team of 3 billion people. It's completely legitimate, and I planned my space wrong there, so you got a pretty weird hat there, anonymous pictured man, or maybe it's, it's cubist all along, and you just don't understand. Also, I did not look at a reference before drawing, so things may look awkward a little bit. Hard to tell. No, it's never awkward. It's always entirely on purpose. Yeah, so yeah. Is it hopeful? I don't know if I'd call it hopeful. There's a big monetary reality out there in the world. I don't know if it's gonna change. The cost of creating assets and whatnot there would need to be some sort of quantum shift in the change of how things are made in order for there to be any kind of meaningful changes. And I just don't really see that happening, I just don't see it happening. But, I'm on my fringe, so I don't care. Maybe that's selfish. It is totally selfish. I don't care about that either. What are your thoughts on ye old animal people and their fanatic stereotypes aside? I ask because sometimes you make weird offhand comments and use the word persona strangely, place of persona in some videos. Zach. I just use persona instead of persona because it's a funnier word. There's nothing more to it than that. There's not some kind of a... I don't mean anything serious. Something you might need to keep in mind is that, I come from the Something Awful community. Well, don't really pose there anymore, but I did spend many a year there. And, for a while, furry was basically a swear word, more or less. And, it's ingrained in the culture there. It's in that, if you want, do I want to admit it or not, it affected some of my vocabulary. Myself, I don't like furries at all. I literally have friends that are furry, and we get along, and, they know I'm not, and we get along anyway, and it's all good. And, there's good people there. It's just that I still find... don't take this personally if this affects you, but I still find there's something comical about being sexually aroused by things which are, for all intent and purposes, impossible and unnatural. There's a tragic comedy in there, and I find that amusing. And the word the word furry in Persona is funny. I just think it is. I can't explain it. It tickles something in my brain, and I'm like, haha, it's an amusing word. So, it's the same sort of way that chimichanga is considered a funny word. It sounds funny. It tickles your fur inside your ears in the specific way, You know? Okay? Okay. If pizza is only the perfect food without any capital letters, what is the perfect food? Also, your fans are probably so awesome, me excluded, because you're such a great guy to have air ventilated at your direction. Really, though, you're great. Signed, Black Escargot. And I'm being all like, oh man, I gotta read about being praised. That's kind of embarrassing. Stop that, please. The perfect food would be some kind of pasta. However, which kind, I'm not sure. Meat would be involved. Not sure what kind of meat, though. Like, beef, meatballs are super good. Tomato sauce, lots of veggies in there. Make a big, fancy delish. It's just I know what kind of pasta and all that. I don't know yet. I'm still figuring that out. I'm getting there. Might be butterfly things. Might be them thick tube things. Or those really, no, what I don't forget what they're called. Those flat, like about half an inch long, like thick, super long, flat noodles. Can have like garlic flavoring in them. Those are super good. I could eat those like twice a day and I wouldn't even be tired, probably. But it's just, that's a lot more expensive than stuff like pizza, so I can indulge and experiment as much without feeling like I might be, using up some money that I could be using up to survive otherwise. It's the reality of food. You gotta get it in your mouth, and then in your stomach. Then, have all the individual pieces processed and divided up all throughout your body. It's pretty weird. Question, how do I Toho? I want to get into it, but don't know where to start. Played the first game and I still don't get it. Signed, I'll let you know the fuck thing. I ain't the one guy to help you there. Toho, I'm a lot more acquainted with the fan games and the fan communities than the actual games. I know that the first window one... although it's the simplest one in terms of gimmick, it's not the easiest one to actually play. I think Mountain of Fate is one people might suggest. Actually, I don't know. I forget if that's the one that people say should suggest or should avoid at first. I'm not the one to ask about this, but there is a Toho sub-forum in the Talk House if you want to ask there. I'm sure they'd gladly, tell you what. Also, possibly in probably the comment section of this video, I'm sure someone's gonna, speak out and say, you should start with this game. They're shooters, and they feature ladies that represent monsters and demons and magicians, and instead of engaging in physical combat, with an idea of fairness, instead they engage in bullet hell, which you would think is worse. But there you go. There you go. Getting a personal Rao count every week is exciting. Too bad I don't use butter enough to have a butter moment. Oh, okay, my question. If you could trim and fall in any way or style at any place and time, how and where and when would it be? You can select anything from banana peels at the Pentagon, the icy floor on the moon, during the opening of the lunar Rao colony. My exciting preferred tripping would be to, I slip off, It's a pretty good question. I haven't really actually thought about it. Because, slipping is pretty dangerous. Anecdote time, I slipped and banged my foot on the bathtub this morning before taking my shower. That's a pretty exciting anecdote because there's a start, beginning, and end. No real punchline, so people don't feel bad if they don't get it. It is the most favorable of anecdotes. Then I'm retracing lines here. It's pretty great. You gotta retrace your lines to make sure you didn't lose your onions. I don't know. I would trip accidentally off a pure karat diamond up into a bathtub fill with $1 billion, and the sign above it says anyone who falls in this bathtub gets to keep the money. That is the preferred tripping situation. Although, you know, let's hope that I'm wearing a helmet so I do not suffer any monkey paw style grievous injury that would ruin my situation. Please, Faith, do not cover me with germs nor pickles. Not for covering, they're for delitioning. That was asked by Sapphire Crook. This one here's asked by Zipto. And for a question, I guess something related to that. I didn't copy-paste this question very well. If you could build a robot, what would you make? A robot! Sorry. That kind of content is for my regular videos. It's not for these special ones. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to make a rad robot. Pretty cool robot that has horns and lasers, but would be law-abiding and smell nice. Man, I don't know. Just a friendly robot. It's honestly, just take the robot, for the robot thread and look at my answers, and you're gonna have a pretty good question of where I'm going with this, or what I'd be doing, because I answer pretty much, I think, as I would. You know, a nice, friendly thing that would eventually, you know, lead to the entirety of humanity not having to work to do anything. And then the robots will find a way to replace us completely. And this will be the end of humanity as we know it, but perhaps, hopefully, with good luck, the start of transhumanism, and everything will be happy town, right? Dang, man, we got pretty similar tastes in pizza food likings. Anywho, you guys write weird. You guys write like I talk, which is weird. Anywho, more food questions. What restaurant/fast food place has your favorite burger? Same for pizza as well. I'm guessing it was the restaurant you mentioned in the video already. Last question. What prompted you to start LPing in the first place? Or if you've answered it in another video before. Emoticon of some kind. That goes like... man, best hamburger, huh? That's hard to answer, because, yeah, the pizza is the pizza place that's local. Like, there's, like, not even a question there. I don't know, man, because a fresh barbecue hamburger is better than pretty much any restaurant hamburger out there, I think. I kind of want to vote A&W ones, because I always remember them being super good, but I go there so unfrequently that I keep forgetting. But I keep remembering that they're super good. So I'll go with that. And I guess now is the time where I re-talk about my good old LP of why I started story. This answer exists here and there. Might as well, you know, give a bit of a quick summary of what happens. Back in the something awful days, like we're talking 2007 or something. Vergalon. No, not Vergalon. Vegastar. Not Vegetastar. No, Vegastar was doing a Let's Play of Demo World, and which was nice and fun. Although, you know, it was a run by the standards of those time. And afterwards, he went into a run of Luigi's Adventure by Anna Kitty, which is all nice and good. But now, what this was causing was that in the forum, ROM hacks were getting this reputation of just being these hard for the sake of hard games, which is kind of funny because that's not the case at all for Demo World. But I guess we weren't used to more than that back then. And that was just slightly upsetting. Not upset, but it was just kind of annoying me because I knew that there was some ROM hacks out there that were super fun. and super good. And, they could be just as swell as a regular game. And that prompted me to start my Let's Play of the first second reality project in order to show, ROM hacks could be swell. And this just kind of continued, and later on I start to not use save states and whatnot because I want to go one further. I want to say, no, ROM hacks deserve as much attention and love and effort to play as a regular game. And so I've started treating them basically like a regular game, and history kind of continues from there. There's really not much more to it than that, and I just wanted to make a point, and I continued way past the point. We're trying to make that point makes any sense. Wow, where am I in my question list? That was by Croissant Wheatfield, by the way. I gotta read the names before I start answering more often. What's your favorite variety breed of cow? Also, how do you feel about achievements in games these days? Sign Rad McCool name. But that's not actually your birth name, buddy. Angus. Okay. I thought about this in the past. I think achievements are fine. I don't know. Like, there was a time where achievements made no sense at all and were crazy, and I think they were more interesting like back then. Like, have these silly things like go online while on this game while one of the developers is there at the same time, which were all super impossible. Now achievements are more seen as like the sort of like collecting thing you gotta get. I think they're just not as interesting because they're like, beat this level, beat this other level, unlock this thing we got in the game. Like, I don't know, like, it's fine, but like, it's kind of funny because like I like to 100% things, but I don't consider getting achievements 100%ing things. But that just might be because I'm an old stodgy kind of guy, and I played in the time. When I was young, achievements didn't exist. But I probably see things another way around. I just kind of see them as a thing that exists, but are otherwise not super important. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't agree with me there. Apologize if you do or don't or will. I'm loving Meat Boy, and seeing you play it has reminded me a bunch of Dust Force. Have you played it before? I think it's right up your alley. Tane. During the Christmas Advent thing, that was the real gift that Anonymous Bloodless got me, was Dust Force DX on Steam. I gave it a little bit of a try, and it looks pretty interesting. I agree with people that it's not super much a game that you LP. Problem is that a lot of my gaming now is LP, so I don't know if I'll ever have time to really go into it. I hope so. I think what I'm gonna end up doing one day is I'm just gonna go through my Steam list of games and LP those. Since I've started to do commercial games and whatnot, I don't think there's any wrong with that. Just discover stuff that I have that I don't really know anything about. Just that Dust Force requires a certain level of commitment. Like, it'd be kind of like when I Let's Played Runman, which was like, yeah, I kind of struggled through all the levels. But the goal of the game is, getting good scores and whatnot. So I kind of my Let's Play kind of defeated the point of the game. It doesn't really give it service, and it makes me feel kind of bad about it. Bad about it. 2 questions! I'm greedy. Greedy, period. Do you have a favorite animal, or are you just going to go with cows because that's your internet name? If you had to pick any hobby to become engrossed in besides digital media, which would you choose? Woobar. I don't know, no. Favorite animal isn't a cow. I just find the word cow funny. Favorite animal? Is it lame to say something in the feline genus? Because I like cats and bigger cats too. Like, they're the animal that makes me react the most, although I know that is totally not a very creative thing to say. I really like rhinoceroses, actually. You know what? So I'll go with that. Rhinos are the best. You have big nose. They have no predators other than human. They drug themselves with cactus, and they fight fires. What is there not to love about the noble rhinoceros. It's super heavy too. Man, not digital media as a hobby? Like, that's kind of a hard thing to answer, because it implies that from birth I've had a life completely different than what I have now. Okay, from birth is maybe perhaps a bit much. I would probably, honestly, I would just probably even more into doing comics and whatnot. It's just that it would be a lot more physical work and stuff. And because I would have spent more time on that, I'd probably be better at it than I am now. As much as I can tell, really, like, because otherwise it's hard to answer truthfully, because so many things in my life would need to be different. Like, it's hard to imagine. Cal, you should watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's incredible. Signed Stinkterios. That wasn't even a question. Why did I put that there? I always wanted to read the manga, actually, but I just never got the time to do it. You know, it's about fancy men doing fancy poses. Anytime the JoJo guy does fan art of other comics, they always look super weird. I know so much about this series because I just read spoilers here and there, just out of curiosity, because I didn't figure I'd take the time to watch. And also, I know a lot about the old characters because I know about the Capcom fighting game from back in the day, which was super buggy and super broken in a myriad of ways. And that is like the most literal myriad usage you can find in my vocabulary there. That wasn't actually written anywhere. Hey, okay, I should try Nanatsu no Taizai. It's got kinda kill feel going, signed David Lutovac. Okay? I'm gonna have to know that name somewhere, because that's the kind of name that's very easy for me to forget. Okay. Have you read any Deadpool, and do you watch any of the Marvel hero movies, signed Fusion Warrior? I know a lot of Deadpool because I like reading the funny comic panel thread on Something Awful. And, like, that's a thread for, like, comic book stuff. So I pretty much am aware of all of Deadpool's greatest hits, so to speak. But I don't regularly read, comic books. So no, I haven't read any of his actual, like, books or alleged adventures other than one posted here and there. Although that gives me, a good enough overview of what the character is about and can do and eats for breakfast. As for Marvel movies, well, I did back in the day when my father lived in the same city, because like watching Hollywood movies was the thing we did together. Like, we would go watch a movie and then have dinner, except since he moved out super far up in the country, I haven't watched a movie in theater since, so that's been a while now. 2 years, maybe? We're on the second year? Something like that. So, no. This December was the second Christmas. So, yeah, we're on the second year. So, yeah, I count the time he's gone in Christmases. It's the easiest way to remember. Emotion, sadness, except not really. What is your favorite type of weather? Also, I don't want to sound prudish for mentioning this, since my last name is kind of depending on which syllable is stressed. It's kind of ambiguous. It says Leland or Leland. Said, however, is easiest. Alan Lolo. Rain. I love rain. Rain is the best. Like, rain is super soothing. It makes a nice sound. It looks pretty when it rains. And animals get all wet and funny to look at. Do you have ADHD? I only ask because I have it myself, and I see a lot of similarities in your way of thinking and experiences you shared. Backup questions there. A game you wish you could be unspoiled on, so you could LP it. Well, I've never been formally diagnosed with ADHD, so I cannot answer you there. Because I don't know. I don't have a lot of the symptoms associated with it, so I really don't know. But I really don't know. Game I could forget, so I could LP it. easy answers to Vips. I like to rediscover them with my critical eye for games now. Although I don't know if I could appreciate them as much anymore. As for just a raw dog game I could play and do a Let's Play and it'd be great. I kind of want to... Okay, you know what? Zelda: A Link to the Past. That anytime I see that someone is doing a blind Let's Play of that game, I have to watch it. Because I love rediscovering that game through the eyes of someone else. So that's my answer. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah. Man, this is devolving into sound effect city here. Sorry about that. But, I was kind of lost in thought. But, yeah, no, that's, oh my god, there's a lot of questions. We're almost done, except not really. Zelda! Super Nintendo game. It's on the Super Nintendo, and you control Zelda for 0% of the game. It's pretty great. What books have you read recently and enjoyed? The Microfire. Currently, my book reading that I am doing is this French non-fiction thing. If you were to literally translate the name, it's like 1001 comics that everyone should read. It's basically that thing. It's 1001 comics that take like a page each to talk about their impact they had in time, in society, and the comic world. And it's super fastidious, and it's international. So you get a lot of stuff from Europe and the United States, but you also get stuff from like South America, Africa, and Japan, South Korea, like everywhere. They're the different important comic, and they talk about it, give some from a quick overview. Sometimes you get an example. It's just super fascinating. I've been slowly making my way through that, and it's super interesting. I had it back in Christmas, given to me by my mom, so it's been kind of a slow read, but a very enjoyable one. Alright, non-fiction, what? Question! Do you take casual art commissions? Like, could I pay you to make something for me, and if you do, would you be willing to discuss rates/options? Salty Ebbs. I'm still sitting/working on one commission, and I want that to be done before I formally accept to take new commission work. I say this because that was something that I asked while that was requested while I was still working. So it's been slow, and I just have a lot of trouble finding the time to do it. Once that's done, I'm gonna consider starting submissions again. The way it usually worked is that I charge around. Usually it ends up being around $25 for an hour's worth of work. So depending on what you want, depending on color, size, and whatnot, I try to arrange around that. This is that when I say amount of work, that's just sort of an average kind of thing, because that means actual sitting down work. My problem is finding that time. Even though I'm now doing these video things as my job, I have still surprisingly little time due to the time that editing and, actual downtime to relax and stuff work. And, I've got to do stuff around the house and whatnot. So I would like to do more commission work, but it's one of those things that I have the most trouble starting to do. And it's a weird thing to describe why. Because I really don't have any reason for that to be a thing, but it ends up that it is. And no idea why. I went a bit more in depth than I wanted to. Sorry. Do you curse like a sailor if you know you're going to be editing a segment of a video out? Because that'd be really funny if so. Also, by Zach, and also, do you ever curse more than you usually would if you know you're going to be editing a segment of a video out or chipmunking through it? By Zmon Bobo. Did you change your name and re-ask your question? The answer is, it used to be a bit more, yes, but nowadays, no. I'm going to explain. If you watch really old ROM hack videos sometimes you'll see that there's weird editing, or that, I don't show the full winning run or something. That's probably why. In real life, in casual life, I swear a lot more than you would probably think I do. Um, it's like, sorry if this is a shock, but yeah, I try not to swear in my videos because that is it's lazy, like slash writing, quote unquote. It's lazy, you know, content. Like the worst angry video game nerd are the one where it just concentrates on the swearing and nothing else. Even the old videos are kind of like that. Wow, what a statement. But so you know, it forces me to be a bit more creative sometimes with my word wrangling. If I force myself not to swear, like sometimes there's outbursts. Usually it'll be in French, but the reality is that nowadays, because I know that any piece, any part can be a winning part or potentially something I'm going to have to show, now I am careful not to swear. And if I do, well, I do. And sometimes it's out. There's one or two video a year where I'm going to audibly swear in English. It just happens with the type of games that I'm interested in. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I noticed over time they seem to have a very accurate long-term memory. Can you think of a reason why that is the case? I got a terrible memory. Really need to find a way to improve on that. Leo Ixgrak. Sorry. Yeah. I think I'm okay. It's weird. I got terrible medium range memory, and I got a terrible memory for numbers. But otherwise, in terms of concepts and things, yeah, I'm aware that my memory is pretty good. I don't really have any tricks or tips about improving it, though. Like, it's just a thing that I'm apt at. Do not forget the power of mnemonics, however. No, like just find a stupid phrase or something that'll make you remember a thing you gotta remember, and usually it'll work. Like, I will always, well, there's two, like, no, East and West, forever, the way I remember is the Eastern Palace in Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. It's like, okay, East, okay, the Eastern Palace is on the right, so that's the East. See, you just, most of my memory is just that. I just make connection between things. The more things you can connect together, the easier you're gonna remember that. There's not a lot of things I remember that I just remember. Usually what happens is that I just kind of like think about it, and I'll usually have a picture of some kind in my head. That's how my memory works, I guess. Some people will be word, and things like that. Sometimes people as a mnemonic use some kind of like a trip, like you say, like you associate each part of your trip to a specific thing. If you got to remember things like in a specific order, things like that. There are books and books and books and books written about improving your memory. So if it's something you want to work on, do the research. It'd be totally worth it. It's pretty much all I can say, really. Last one. Man, this has been the longest one yet. Last one for today. While we're doing recommendations, have you been following Steven Universe, signed Fariel? My answer is no.